Hey guys, we're back to another video. Today we're talking about possibly snow and cold for the U.S. and also the next 3 days snowstorm possible for areas for the U.S. But first, I want to check out my layout here. That you can see my new layout here. I actually recorded this video once and I realized I had my mic off, so this is my second time recording this. So yeah, but at the bottom here, you see there is snowstorms and cold weather possibly coming in. I have basically probably the title near of the video. Below that, I have please like and subscribe. Below that, I have here's the GFS model, and it has a GFS model going, showing you what it looks like for the next few days or until the model goes out. And next to there's the snowstorm and cold could come to the USA. So that's everything, my new layout here. Hopefully you guys like it. I'm gonna see what you guys think in the comments below of this new layout. So let's get into today's video. Here we are looking at the severe weather intensity scale for the next 3 days. So first off, we're gonna check out the Northeast because we have a snowstorm ongoing for Maine. We have minor to moderate impacts for that snowstorm, especially on the northeastern part of Maine. So that's the area you're going to have to watch for the biggest impacts for. We also have a lot of the snowstorm looks like in the next 3 days for the western part of the U.S. So let's first check out the California. There's extreme risk here, or extreme impacts risk here on the potential winter storm impact scale. Because of that mountain snow, if you're anywhere near those areas, you might really want to prepare for some snow or anything in that area because there's possibly some snow for the probably mainly the mountains, I think, in that region there. So yeah, and then we also have some snow or some minor to extreme impacts for areas of Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado. We see some of that in. We also have another area up here for Idaho, um, possibly Montana, some of those areas seeing moderate, and for this area here, see some of these minor to moderate, maybe even some major. And there it doesn't look like I see any extreme here. So yeah, let's look at the models here. So we are looking at today. Here I'm gonna fast forward to 6 p.m. today. And we see there's warm air for most of the central plains here. Maybe a little bit of cool air for some of the areas in the southeast, not too cool, but maybe just a little bit cooler air. Maybe a little bit cooler air for these regions up here. So yeah. Um, but we're seeing mainly warm for the central plains. So let's fast forward here to tomorrow, 6 p.m. tomorrow. You see there's above average temperatures moving into the central plains into the Midwest. Maybe some cool air still for Florida. Maybe some of the Northeast still seeing some cool air. Mainly warmer air for the West Coast. It looks like mainly, so nothing too big going on there. So and then cooler air it looks like in Canada here. So yeah, that's pretty much what it looks like at this time for tomorrow, or not. Yes, tomorrow. Sorry. Um, Heading into Christmas Eve here, we see there's above normal temperatures here for most of the Central Plains, heading into the Midwest, maybe heading toward the Northeast and Southeast. So this warmer air, we see this cool air try to come down from Canada here, it looks like, around Friday. But we're seeing very warm air for these areas here. We're going to watch that as that occurs on Christmas Eve potentially around 6 p.m. So let's fast forward here to the next day about 6 p.m. on Christmas Day. See that cold front moves through portions of Minnesota. It looks like Nebraska, Montana, South Dakota. Looks like that cold front moves through. And warm air looks to have moved a little more south into the southeast and maybe some of the northeast. It looks like so that warmer air. It looks like we still see warm air for these areas here. Not as warm, but still it's warm around this time on Christmas Day. So yeah, looks like pretty warm. The West Coast maybe a little cooler than normal, maybe just a little cooler, probably near normal about, so, or just below. Um, so yeah, let's fast forward here to 6 p.m. the next day. Looks like that cold front tries to move through some of these regions here, and then the warm air catches it and it dies out. The cooler air does. So, um, and then we see this warm air try to move up again into portions of Kansas, maybe heading into Missouri, Nebraska, potentially Iowa. And we see this cooler air up here for near coming out of Canada, heading into Montana, North Dakota. So yeah, that's about what's going on around this time, the day after Christmas Day. Um, Heading into December 27th, we see looks like a little cold front trying to move through some of these areas, maybe. According to what it shows, but still warm air for the south here. Central Plains into the southeast. Looks like maybe a little bit cooler air for portion of the northeast. And even warm air getting all the way up into Minnesota, Wisconsin, maybe even Michigan. Looks like some warm air, at least 4 degrees potentially above average warm air. So, and then we see this cooler air try to move into the west. Looks like potentially near 4 to 12 degrees below normal portions of the west coast. Then we also see this cooler air for the northwestern part of the U.S. So yeah, so let's fast forward into December 28th, around 6 p.m. We see this warm air try to build up again for the southeast and central plains. We see this warm air try to build up, potentially near 12 to 28 degrees above normal. And then we see this cool air try to move into the western part of the U.S. around this time. You see some very cooler air, even near 12 to 28 degrees below normal for up here. So you see there's this cold front potentially here for some of these areas. So yeah, we'll have to watch around this time because where the cold and warm meet up, that's where you can see severe storms. So we're gonna have to watch that around these times. But what's coming up is very interesting. It looks like we will be seeing the models have been consistent with this happening. It looks like this cold front will try to move into the U.S., as I'll show you in a minute. This model has been consistent, and some of the other models have been showing something similar to this that you're about to see. And we're going to move into 12 p.m. on December 30th. You see this cold front tries to move through for the U.S. here. And then this warm air built up here for the southeast. And it looks like for portions of Texas. And then we see this cold air for portions of probably the northwest, for portions of Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, potentially near 16 to 28 degrees below normal near. So very interesting as that moves through. And then we see the western part of the U.S. pretty cold, be below normal according to what it shows. So yeah, the models have been consistent with that. Then we see we get close to December 31st. Something interesting happened. It's still 204 hours out. Looks like that warm air tries to push up uh, from the south into Kansas and Missouri, but that cold air is like, nope, you won't get it all the way up here, and it just stays there for it looks like a day or so as that warm air tries to move up. Like it's very interesting how it moves up. See that happen there? It's like, nope, you're not gonna move north of this. So at least it looks like on here. Then you see that cold air tries to reach down. And look at that. Look at that cold front move through. Look how much warm air there is. And you can just see that cold front move through. This is what we're going to watch for severe weather. Do we see this happen? We'll probably see some severe weather happen and major severe weather potentially with that big of a cold front from 28 degrees above normal to a few degrees below normal. So a very strong cold front looks like here around potentially December 31st around 6 a.m. in the morning. So we'll have to watch that here As that happens, we see this cool air move into the central plains or Midwest. It looks like it starts some cooler air here. We see there is some warmer air for southeast and northeast um, here. So yeah, we're gonna keep fasting forward here to January 1st. Um, this is where stuff starts to get very interesting. It's still a few hours out, but it looks like after that cold front moves through, it looks like some of this cold air will try to stick in for at least a little while here for portions of the Midwest, Northeast, and the Western United States. Still getting cold air, it looks like. So that's very interesting. It's showing, and this warm air just stays down here, portions of Texas and the Southeast, according to what it shows. So for January 1st. Let's move on to January 2nd. We still see that cooler air try to stay here for areas here, the western and some of the Midwest. So some cooler air for the Northeast for January 2nd. So yeah. Uh, and then we see, into the next day, we see still cooler air for portions of the Midwest, it looks like. Cooler air still maybe for some of the Northeast. We see that warm air mainly for the Northeast, maybe a little bit for Minnesota and Wisconsin, according to what it shows. But the Western United States pretty cold around this time, potentially anywhere from um, 4 degrees to maybe even 20 degrees below normal, according to what it shows here around January 4th. Um, let's fast forward here. Something very interesting happens in a little bit. So it's very interesting. I'll show you that in just a little bit. But here we see cooler air here around 6 p.m. on January 5th. This is still far out, so it could still change by this time. It's still 324 hours out. That's quite far out, so this will likely change. We're still going to look at it because there's nothing really else to talk about much about today. We also have this cold air for portion of the Northwest into the western part of the U.S. Still seeing cooler air, it looks like here, for some of these areas. Um, let's fast forward here, and this is where the interesting happen. This warm air builds up for portions of the southeast, central plains, into the Midwest. This warm air just builds up here very quickly in probably about 12 hours. It builds up into very, very warm air with potentially near 12 degrees potentially above normal for some areas. So 8 to 12 degrees above normal. And then we see this cold air with a cold front, it looks like, coming through around this time, around 12 p.m. on January 5th. Potentially. So, yeah, very interesting here how fast that warm air built up for this area. So that's a little wonky here. I don't know if I would agree with that this far out, but it's a little bit wonky here. Then we see that cold air try to move in again to January 6th around 12 a.m. Looks like that cold air tries to stick around for the Midwest heading into January 7th for very, very cold air. It shows some of these areas potentially getting 12 to 28 potentially degrees below normal for areas of Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota. We even have cold still for the western part of the U.S. They have not got a break from that cold, it looks like, since I started looking at the first few days. It was warm, and then it just stayed cold the rest of the mile run, so they're not getting a break from that cooler air here. And then we see that warm air still forcing the northeast, southeast still, so very interesting. Let's fast forward even more, and this is as far as out as it goes. And we see there's warm air for the southeast here, even more some for the northeast. And then we see this cooler air from most of the western part of the U.S. It looks like most of the U.S. is covered in blue here by this time. Probably about probably 70% of the map is blue, 30% is warm here. So of the map it shows here. So looks like that cold air moves in by January 7th. It looks like. So yeah. Now let's start looking at the precipitation, see what it looks like on the precipitation on the models here. For the next little bit, we see right now warm air, so usually when it's warm, we see pretty dry conditions here. It looks like pretty dry conditions for portions of the U.S. Central Plains. Maybe a little bit of snow for the Northwest here. Snow maybe for Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, but nothing too big going on. That snowstorm moving out of Maine here. You can see that cooler air. So, and then we see a high pressure here for South and North Carolina. So, yeah, let's fast forward here. Hang in Friday, we don't see really much going on here. Like on this or on Christmas Day, we see maybe some snow for Colorado in them. So you may see some snow on Christmas Day, Christmas night, hanging into Christmas Day. I think this would actually be Christmas Eve. We're seeing some snow for portions of the Northwest. So get ready for your Christmas Day. So some of you guys might get a white Christmas there. Looks like most of the southeast here, like I said, is going to be pretty warm for those areas. Then we see a low pressure looks like move through, causing some rain for areas of Chicago and stuff. It looks like on Christmas Day around 6 a.m. Some rain potentially moving through with that low pressure moving through. Um, and then we see maybe a little bit of snow behind here in the northwest still, but nothing too big. Still warm air for the south. As you can see by those warm things, warm lines. Um, then you see that kind of cold front come through Sunday. Maybe a little bit of snow for Minnesota. Maybe some ice in for the Northeast. Heading into Christmas Day around. Wait, actually, yeah, Christmas Day. Still here for 6 p.m. Seeing some ice for portion of the Northeast. Um, heading into December 26th. You see there is snow potentially for some of these areas. Some snow for the western part of the U.S. potentially. So very interesting there. We're going to continue to move on. We see there's another low pressure that forms. Brings in, I think, a little bit of cooler air there. This is where the stuff starts to get wonky here, where we see that massive cold front that it's been showing for quite a while that there will be a potentially a massive cold front move through. GFS has been showing and some other models around this similar time, so we'll have to watch that if there is a cold front that moves through these areas. So yeah, that warm air, cold air, and we'll have to watch me for some severe weather in there, so we'll have to watch around that time. Then we see that cold air move down. This is where stuff starts to get a little interesting. On December 30th, it looks like a storm tries to form. I see that low pressure here. It starts to form over some areas that haven't got this much snow this winter yet. For portion of Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, we're seeing some snow try to form in Nebraska. Iowa, some wintry mix ice potentially for Kansas and maybe some in Missouri. Try to form near December 30th around 12 p.m. That just continues. Rain, storms, and it looks like another cold front tries to move through. And a massive snowstorm, it looks like, for quite a few areas here, going from Nebraska to Canada potentially, near December 31st, hanging into the new year. So we'll have to watch as that occurs. Some wintry mix ice for Missouri potentially, and maybe some wintry mix in Iowa and Illinois and ice. Um, Continues to move through into the northeast, maybe some snow here, so, and then it moves out, and then looks like another snowstorm moves in, and this one actually goes a little more south than most of our snowstorms have been. Um, some wintry mix, ice heading into portions of maybe even Oklahoma, Colorado, maybe a little bit of Texas, maybe, um, heading into Missouri, southern Missouri, ice in potentially Arkansas, Tennessee. Some of the snow moving into portions of Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Colorado. This is still 240 hours out, but still very interesting to see a snowstorm try to form hanging into January 1st. So, yeah, we'll have to watch that very closely as that continues to move through into January 1st. We continue to see that snow. Looks like flurries, and then it looks like another snowstorm forms for some of these similar areas. Here for January 3rd, we see more snow try to develop here for areas of Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, all areas I've been pronouncing the last little bit. We still see some snow forming and some wintry mix for Missouri and Kansas. Still a little far out though, still could change. We see some rain showers and thunderstorms for areas down here. So very interesting. By January 3rd, that clears out. The snowstorm moves into potentially northeast. It looks like it wouldn't be as bad though. By the time it got over there, it looks like it'd weaken. We move through. Another snowstorm looks like develops a little more north now, around Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa. Snowstorm, maybe even some strong thunderstorms, severe weather on the southern side. For portions of Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, potentially, if this did occur. And then we continue to fast forward here. We see a snowstorm even develop. This is 366 hours out, so I don't think this will happen because it's still quite far out. But it shows a potential winter storm developing portions of southern Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas. And this is snow here. Looks like Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, even some icing in Tennessee, Arkansas, even portions of Texas. It looks like seeing some ice according to the model shows. So that's something very interesting and wonky on the models. And then this is what shows us the last frame. We see rain and thunderstorms for the southeastern U.S., snow for the northwest, maybe some snow flurries for portions of the northeast. So very interesting there. That shows. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you guys like the new layout here that I have here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. What to watch for the snowstorms potentially coming up in cold weather. So get prepared now while you have time. Let's hang into January where we start seeing cooler air for the U.S. Also, if I sound weird today, it may be because I have my sneezing and stuff. I've been needing to blow my nose a lot the last few days, so I may sound a little weird today because I kind of need to blow my nose. So I didn't want to blow my nose during my video. So, but I'm just letting you know if I sound weird, it's just because I have a little cold, I think, or something going on. So that's part of the reason why. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and see you guys in the next video.